I thought it was time for another fountain pen shootout. Okay, so what I thought we would do today is talk about that situation where she says, "No, you're perfect. You're absolutely great," and then you run into the X. I'm talking about pens. I don't know what you had in mind, but I'm definitely talking about pens. Now, I thought what we would do today is talk about this very interesting pen that was sent to me, or actually I should say lent to me by Joost Appelboom, the PuChiCo by Wancher. And it's a tiny pen, and I thought this was kind of a tongue-in-cheek shootout because here is the biggest pen I have, and I thought we would compare the two. Okay, here we go. The PuChiCo is meant to be a tiny pen. It's only 25 euros. It's very inexpensive as pens go. Extra fine of fine stainless steel nibs, it's a pen. I'll say that about it. Now, if you don't believe me in how small it is, here we have a Pilot Metropolitan whose cap is basically the size of the PuChiCo. This is a pen made for people who want to carry around a tiny pen, and they succeeded because it is indeed a tiny pen. So we have the Wancher logo, we have a little cap. It is a bit Delta-esque in the combination of this orange material and the black cap, if you ask me. And here is the actual pen, number 5 nib in steel. It's tiny. If you write with it, I would love to see the person who can write with this unposted, but I'm sure they exist. Oh my God, there was a bit of ink drippage. Do I have? Yes, I have my RDC, the Rapid Deployment Cloth, always at hand. It's a tiny little pen, and it's meant to be posted, and when you post it, then it looks like this, and I still can't use it. But if you really need a pocketable pen, then this is what you have, and it's still a bit of ink there. I'm so sorry. It's an eyedropper filled pen, but the problem, I don't want to sound really mean or anything, but I mean the problem I have with this eyedropper filled pen is this. Let me get my pokey device. This is the section which has threads, but bear in mind what a standard nib unit looks like. You have a nib and a feed inside a collar, and that collar goes up to about here. So if you take an eyedropper to this pen, which is the only way to use it, eyedropper filled, that no converter fits this, not even that tiny Kaweco fold-away converter, my reaction would be, well, you take the eyedropper, you fill up, oh my God, it's just so small. As you can tell, I'm a really big fan of this pen, right? So I'm just trying to make this not move, which is complicated in some regard. Okay, there we are. My impression would be take an eyedropper, fill it up to about the threads. But if you do that and then you put the section in, ink will come bubbling out because the nib collar sticks out so far that it's up to about here. So this pen is eyedropper filled. It holds about 0.5, 0.6 milliliters of ink, not more than that. So that's less than a converter because that's about 0.7 milliliters. So the point of an God, I'm so upset. The point of an eyedropper filled pen is that it holds a lot of ink. That's why it's eyedropper filled. You have a big reservoir, and this has none of these things. So what can I say about it? Well, it's a pen. I'll give it that. It's pretty too. I like that orange material. It's a shame there's so little of it, but I mean, I do like it. I like the black and orange. It works. I like the idea, but this is too much. It's too tiny. Size doesn't matter except when it does. And if I can't even hold it, I can't write with this in a normal way. And that's a bit of a problem. Now, of course, there are people who have smaller hands, and then it might be less of an issue. But if you are on the larger end of things, then that pen, it won't do. It will not do. Now let's compare that to something else. And obviously this is an absurd comparison, but I thought that would be part of the fun of the video. Here we have the Titan Pen's Great Exposition. So I asked William, my dear friend William, he 3D prints pens under the name Titan Pens. I sent him the specs of my Conway Stewart Great Exhibition, but that's slightly fragile and it's very expensive. And I said, could you make me that pen but without the silver overlay so I can use it without being afraid of damaging it? And he said, zippity zappity, let me get working on it straight away. And he created this, basically the same shape and size as the Conway Stewart Great Exhibition, but again without the silver overlay. Now this is a pen. This is a pen. Look at that. Look at my hand. Look at this pen. Look at a Pilot Metropolitan and then look at this pen. That's a real pen, right? So if size doesn't matter, well, look at this. I guess it matters a little bit because this is comfortable. Isn't this ridiculously big? Yeah, but that's kind of the fun of it, isn't it? Because sometimes you want something that's really, really big. Let's be fair. Okay, now here you go. 8 inches of solid pen, because that's what this is. And this doesn't hold 0.5 milliliters of ink. I just dripped a little in my excitement. Let me just take that out of the way. Okay, this does not hold 0.5 milliliters of ink. This holds 15 milliliters of ink. Some bottles of ink are 15 milliliters. So you take that entire bottle, you take your eyedropper, which you use for this, and you filled it up for about, I don't know, 10%, and then you put it in this pen. Here, you take the entire bottle of ink, you pour it in the pen, and then you start writing, and it won't stop writing. Now this is a number 8 Bock nib, titanium double broad. Let's compare it to the nib of the PuChiCo. So here we have number 5 versus number 8. Now, it doesn't really matter to do whatever you want. I like number 8 nibs, I like number 6 nibs, I like number 5 nibs, as long as they're good nibs, doesn't matter. But that's the difference. Now look at this cap for the Great Exposition. And now look at the PuChiCo. I take that pen and I put it in the cap and it disappears, right? Because that's the size difference we're talking about. This pen, it doesn't post because it would be ridiculous to post because there's no need. Fun, yeah, it's burping because I didn't put enough ink in it, right? You see what's happening here. That's okay. It burps a little. It's not how it writes typically. Oh my God, it's such a mess I'm making. It doesn't typically burp unless it gets low, and this is obviously too low, but I didn't want to fill up the whole thing. That's the difference. Now, shall we look at these two things side by side? Let's see what we can do when we write with these things. Let me first start off with the PuChiCo. I can barely uncap it because it's so small, but here we go. The PuChiCo. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. The Wancher PuChiCo. A solution to a problem I never had, but other people may have. Hey, it's a great writer. I have to give it that. Look at how beautifully it writes. This is Lamy Mango. This is the fine nib, in case you want to know. Nice and wet because it does have that reservoir. It is eyedropper filled, so there's nice amount of ink without the tiny nipple of a converter. So rich flow, works really well, and I really like that. The only problem is I cannot hold this thing without my hand cramping up. But hey, it writes lovely. It's pretty smooth too. I really have to give it that. I love what they try to do, and if you have smaller hands, it might be great. But to me, this really is a novelty item. Now, good thing I like novelty items. See the Great Exposition. Here we have the Titan pens, and this is going to be, yeah, it's going to be very, very, again, it doesn't usually burp, but there is so much air in here. The heat in my hand is expanding that a bit. This is a solution for which there is no problem. Because who in their right minds would need 15, yes, that is 15 milliliters of ink? Nobody. Look at how wet this is. You see? That's the fun of it. But I love this pen. It's a great conversation piece. And I just love holding it. It's so comfortable. Yes, it's really, really big. But that was part of the point. That was part of the Great Exhibition as well. I love it. I just love this pen. Now, let's see if you can predict which of these two I would pick if I could only get to keep one. It's the Great Exposition because I love it and it's great. This is very interesting. It's just not for me, and that's okay. Different people, different opinions, different needs. No issue whatsoever. It's beautiful. I can't use it. I don't know if this is beautiful to you, but I love using it. Every time I use this, it puts a smile on my face, and that's genuine. I mean that. So for me, very important. Now, I know this is not really commercially available. You can ask William, he'll make you one, but it's not something you can just buy off the shelf. This is something it is. The price will be quite different, but there you have it. I will say one thing about the PuChiCo, I can't say that word, sorry. I do think it's reasonably priced. 25 euros is pretty good for an attractive little pen. So there you have it. I don't hate it. Let me rephrase that. I'm not saying that I hate it. And I'm not saying that I don't. But I do. There you have it. I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye!